Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I need to begin tonight by thanking everyone for being here. On site, online, right now, rewatching later. It is a very challenging time to show up in Jewish space. And your act of courage and community and seeking makes us who we are. We are here because you are here. In fact, take a minute and turn to your neighbor. Tell them that. We are here because you are here. Thank you. Yesterday was awful. This late season nor'easter was cruelly befitting the energy of the day. Really, much of the week has felt like a gathering storm, not just the weather, politically and emotionally. I had not seen the news of the D.C. shooting on Wednesday night. It was the first thing I saw when I woke up in the morning. The clouds burst open, and the storm was here. Yesterday morning, I dropped both of my children off at school. They're Jewish schools, and probably squeezed them a little too tight as I said goodbye. And I came here. I was the first one in the clergy suite, which was dark and gloomy when I entered it. And I sat at my desk knowing that I had to write this sermon. It's hard to compose your words when you have to compose yourself. I needed comfort. And I found it in two places. The writings of Abraham Joshua Heschel's moral grandeur and spiritual audacity, and the music of Marvin Gaye's What's Going On. Both masterpieces responding to the war in Vietnam. I got to track 2 before I started weeping in my office. That track entitled, What's Happening, Brother? The second track in a row that asks that soulfully sincere question, how are you? How are you in this absolute mess of a world? There are no concrete solutions to the unrest of the time. Instead, the song focuses on empathy, emotional honesty, and a longing for connection as a form of healing. And from the depths of the pain that Marvin Gaye expresses rises prayer. Father, Father, we don't need to escalate. War is not the answer, for only love can conquer hate. You know we've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. I looked into this musical mirror yesterday and I felt seen. This was not a time for me to philosophize or politicize about the cold-hearted murder in Washington, a heinous act of terror that brings no one closer to liberation. This was a time to mourn the young lives lost and to sit in the worries of the aftermath as our world took one deplorable step closer towards the brink. What's going on? It was a good cry. I could have stayed in that safe, sad space all day. But Heschel had other ideas. I frequently say that you can't say it better than Heschel says it himself, so I'm about to quote him a lot. We begin. It became quite clear to me that while our eyes are witness to the callousness and cruelty of man, our heart tries to obliterate the memories, to calm the nerves, to silence the conscience. In a world where our eyes are bleary from the onslaught of information and misinformation, our heart sometimes pulls us back, makes us go numb. It's a recoil as a way of self-protection from emotional exhaustion. And yes, of course, we sometimes need retreat. Heschel wrote the Sabbath too. But he reminds us in this quote that morally speaking, there is no limit to the concern one must feel for the suffering of human beings. And so I turned back to the news of the world, eyes strained but open. More Heschel. Our life is beset with difficulties, yet it is never devoid of meaning. The feeling of futility is absent from our souls. There is a divine earnestness about our life. This is our dignity. To be invested with dignity means to represent something more than one's self. The gravest sin for a Jew is to forget what he represents. The gravest sin for a Jew is to forget what he represents. To me, the Israeli government has forgotten what they represent. This is to say nothing of who they represent, as more and more citizens prioritize the safe return of the hostages above all else, as they beg, plead, and protest for an end to this war. Rather, I fear that the decision makers have forgotten their moral code, and it is absolutely heartbreaking. They have forgotten the vision of Theodore Herzl and Martin Buber and David Hartman of what Israel could be, a light unto the nations, an ethical North Star. That, in Heschel's words, in order to be a people, we have to be more than a people. In order to be a nation, we have to be more than a nation. Back in Genesis, God said to Abraham, I have singled him out that he may instruct his children and his posterity to keep the way of God by doing what is just and right. This is Genesis 18. This is occurring right before God plans to wipe out Sodom. But God checks with Abraham first. And Abraham tries to stop God, challenging the Almighty by asking, will you sweep away the innocent along with the guilty? I hold Israel to a higher standard. From one Abraham to another, this is what a Jew represents. Judaism is a system in which human relations rest upon two basic ideas: the idea of human rights and the idea of human obligations. From these foundations flow the values that we need to re-emphasize today and every day. Chesed, loving kindness extended without expectation. Tzedek, justice pursued with courage and compassion. And tikva, hope that dares to imagine a better world. Marvin Gaye would chime in, and all God asks of us is we give each other love, oh no. Yesterday was awful. Today is Shabbat. And it is said on Shabbat that we receive a second soul. Not just to rest, but to feel more deeply. And perhaps your second soul is already filling up the overflow from the other. But this Shabbat, embrace your additional space to feel and to sit with discomfort, to make room for some joy, to find that razor's edge where sadness and beauty meet and the word or the melody brings tears to your eyes because it speaks to you just right. And if that second soul grants you even more spaciousness, make room for someone else, for their pain, for their joy, for their presence. That will make us more than a people. That will make us holy. That is what we represent. Shabbat shalom.